Instagram stories for Monday, July 1st. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Before we get into the Mosseri Monday, there's another relevant topic that I want to talk about. Recently, there was an event in California called VidCon, which is a conference made of content creators and brands. Was I invited? No. Did anyone reach out to me to come to speak? No. If you were there, I would love to get your take on it. Perhaps you can do a future episode of this show where you share some of your experiences from attending VidCon. But I want to highlight a clip that the Instagram @creators team posted from a panel that was all about the Instagram algorithm. I don't think there's anything revolutionary in this clip I'm about to play that you haven't heard me talk about already on this show multiple times, but here's the clip.
What's up? I'm Ryan Alexander Holmes at RyanAlexH. I just stopped into the algorithm panel here at VidCon, and I got 3 takeaways for you. One of the latest improvements in the algorithm is that they're uplifting small creators. All right, so everyone gets a shot, and we all started at 0, and we like that. There's more creativity for all of us. Another improvement on the algorithm is original content, so you want to be yourself. And they're going to crack down on non-original content. So if you're reposting other people's content, instead you can remix, share, put your own twist on something that has inspired you. Other thing, shadow banning is not a real thing. So you want to check your account status to see if you're eligible for distribution. So bonus tip, you probably want to focus on Reels because over 50% of the engagement driven on Instagram is people watching Reels. It's the best way to connect with your audience. They hear you, they see you, you get the connection. The words, the eyeballs. And a target is probably around 10 a month, which is doable. I post every day, not to brag. Those are my top tips from the algorithm panel. I'm at VidCon, and we're out.
If you were at VidCon and you would like to come on the show and share your experiences, I would love that. Please send me a direct message at Daniel Hill Media. And I also see that there's an East Coast version in Baltimore, September 26th to 29th. Something to think about. Okay, now that we've talked about that, let's go on to the Mosseri Monday question. The first one, statistics on Instagram, 1:1 or 4:5? This is referring to the aspect ratio of pictures and videos when you post them in feed. Ideally here, the goal would be, no matter what you post, to have it take up as much screen real estate as possible so that the person is immersed in either the video or the photo, whatever it is that you posted. Here's Adam's answer.
Personally, I think 4:5, it's a little bit easier to make the composition interesting, but also your post is a little bit taller, which might help a tiny bit with engagement.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. Is the time of day you post important? The answer to that is yes. You can see when most of your audience is online by looking at the Instagram insights, and you would want to make sure that you're posting in a time when they are generally online or about to be online. Here's Adam's answer to that question.
The time of day you post is not that important. I personally find that it doesn't do anything for my reach one way or the other. In general, though, if you really want to try to optimize, you might want to post right before most of your followers come onto Instagram. And if you go to Insights, you should be able to see when that is.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to avoid being hacked, follower accounts, and the difference between having accounts unfollow you on Instagram versus unfollow you on Threads. So stick around. Oh, hey, welcome back. Let's go on to the next question. This one is actually pretty interesting because a lot of times we think of Threads being part of Instagram, and in many ways they are tied together. For instance, if someone wants to send you a DM on Threads, they're going to use your Instagram DM box. They're tied together. However, this question, when accounts unfollow me on Instagram, does it unfollow on Threads as well? Good question. I would say that the answer is going to be no, because the follower account that you have on Instagram is completely different from the follower account that you have on Threads. Here's Adam's answer to that question.
No, it doesn't. Your Threads graph and your Instagram graph are independent, so you can curate them the way you like. You can set it up so that you follow everybody on Threads that you already follow on Instagram. But in general, we find that people like to curate their graphs based on each app.
Okay, next question. How important is follower count? I would say that follower count is just a vanity metric, really. It doesn't mean anything. If you have 1 million followers, but nobody engages with your content, then really it doesn't matter that you had 1 million followers. But then again, some people will be impressed and they will say, oh, look, you have 1 million followers. So I always say, take this number with a grain of salt. What really matters is the engagement rate that you get and what kind of community and what kind of relationships have you built because of your content with the audience who's consuming that content. Here's Adam's answer.
Your follower count is definitely important. It's the thing that correlates most with reach, but you can reach people who don't follow you through recommendations. You see recommendations in Feed and Explore and the Reels tab and other places across the app.
Okay, since we're doing all the questions about followers, let's do another one. Why have I been losing a lot of followers lately? This is just life. Much like when you watch a TV show and you get tired of it, people might get tired of your content and decide to unfollow you. That's okay. That's just a normal part of life. You probably don't watch the same TV shows that you watched from the early 2000s. Even if they're still on and they're still making new episodes, you might not watch it because you're tired of it. And that's okay.
Without looking at your specific account, I can't say for certain, but it is very common for people to unfollow people. If you go into your insights, you should probably see that you get a lot of unfollows and a lot of follows every day. I know I get maybe 4 unfollows for every 4 unfollows for every 5 follows I get in a given day. So it might be that people's interests are changing. It could be that a bunch of those accounts were bots. It's nothing that you did wrong. It's just sometimes that happens, but I'm not saying that's what happened in this case. I would look for ways to create content that is going to be more engaging if you can. Try to look for patterns of what works, particularly things that are going to get sent to friends, and then just try to iterate your way forward. But I know it's very frustrating and difficult at times.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. Why do people get hacked so often? This is a multi-part answer. Here are the 2 main things. Number 1, they're using the same password on Instagram that they're using on other sites, and those other sites may have had their data breached, and therefore people get the username and password and try it in as many different places as they can. To prevent that from happening, you could do 2 things. Number 1, use a different password on every specific website and app that you go onto. That's a lot of different passwords to memorize and keep track of, which is annoying, but a necessary evil that we all have to do. And number 2, this is a key component, turn on 2-factor authentication. It is a bit of a pain to do that extra step when you log in. You have to wait for the text message to come in, copy the code, paste it in, but it prevents anyone who knows your password from just being able to log into your account. Here's Adam's answer to why do people get hacked so often?
It's hard to say. There are a number of ways that people can get hacked. One of the common ways is SIM hack, so someone gets access to someone's phone. Often, sometimes people are asked to log in with their Instagram credentials when they try to buy likes or use other services like that, and that's a way of self-compromising. So please turn on 2-factor authentication and do not share your Instagram password with anybody. Only use it to log into Instagram.
And the last question we're going to do, a book you like, be surprising. I'm going to talk about Adam's answer because he is reading a book that I actually loved.
I don't know if this is surprising, but I'm right now reading Project Hail Mary with my son, Nico, and I'm really into it.
Okay, the book he's talking about is called Project Hail Mary. It's by Andy Weir, who's the same guy who wrote The Martian. I absolutely loved the Project Hail Mary book. I could not put it down. It's going to be made into a movie starring Ryan Gosling, but the director and co-producer are Lord and Miller. Lord and Miller, if you're not familiar, they did Mitchell's vs. the Machines, which is a hilarious movie. They did both Into the Spider-Verse movies. They have done a ton of great things. They did the Solo movie as well. Anyway, if you haven't read Project Hail Mary and you like science fiction type, you're absolutely going to love the book, I think. And looking forward to the movie as well. So that's a key recommendation. That is it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening. If you do not like ads, but you would really like to support the show, we now have Patreon. So you can subscribe to that using the link in the show notes, and you can enjoy the show ad-free. As always, thank you for listening, and be sure to come back next time for more Instagram, TikTok, other social media platform strategy and news that you need to know.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually that's factually a fraction of me. And other fractions posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work, without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish, unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that, there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.